Okay, for this episode I'm going to use the theme Pokemon X and Y by Adeku or Adaku. And let's see, the new team that I'll be using is another offensive team, weatherless team. It has Landers Therion. That's the first time I'll be using him. So let's see how I play against the latter with this team. I'm up against Nightmare Queen. And her team is Azelf, Alakazam, Scizor, Rotomosh, Tyranitar, and Latios. Probably gonna lead off with Azelf to Taunt and Stealth Rock if I go for my own Stealth Rock lead. In that case, yeah. But Landers Therion does have U-turn, so it can U-turn out from that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use U-turn. Hopefully he uses Taunt. No, he doesn't. He goes for Stealth Rock. Okay. U-turn did do 64% damage. That's pretty nice. And let's see, what should I switch to? If I switch to Scizor, he's going to probably switch out to like Rotom-Wash. But at the same time, he probably doesn't want to take a likely U-turn as well. If I go to Garchomp, I could finish him off because I'm Choice Scarf, but that would let him know that Garchomp is already Choice Scarfed, so I don't want that surprise to be gone already. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send in my Scizor and Bullet Punch, and hoping he stays in. He probably doesn't want to take the riskier play, that's why he does stay in, because I could have also gone with U-turn. And let's see what he switches into. He switches into Rotomosh. That's his best Pokemon against Scizor to take Bullet Punch. In that case, I could go to Breloom, but he might Volt Switch. Or I could go to Landorus, but he could also use Hydro Pump. He could do either. Or he could also go for Will-O-Wisp, which is probably a better move to make. So yeah, I don't want to take a Will-O-Wisp with any of my Pokemon out. He has Stealth Rock out. It's a tough scenario. But since my Breloom is a Focus Sash Breloom, and he used Stealth Rock, Focus Sash isn't going to be useful anymore, so I'm going to go to Breloom. And he does go for the Will-O-Wisp, so I'm going to Spore. I can now incapacitate any of his Pokemon with Spore. But he is faster. That's unique. He's using a timid Rotomosh, as I am a jolly Breloom. In that case, okay, I did live the HP Fire, was able to put his Rotomosh to sleep. The reason it probably didn't have enough power to take down Breloom was because he didn't invest too much EVs on special attack, and because it wasn't a modest nature Rotomosh. It was timid. So right now I can go to Rotomosh, Volt Switch into anything out, or go to Scizor and U-turn. So I have two options. Let's see. Or I can go to Landorus and use Stealth Rock, but he's gonna stay in, and I don't want him to wake up anytime soon. So I probably don't want to go with Landorus. If I go to Scizor, U-turn, he's probably gonna go to his own Scizor. Okay, yeah, let's force that. But let's force him to switch U-turn. None of his Pokemon are gonna take U-turn well. He's probably gonna go to Scizor. If he does, then U-turn is gonna do a good amount of damage, and then I can go to my own Rotomosh and Volt Switch. That's why he decides to stay in. He doesn't want to take that risk. Okay, in that case, I'll now send in my own Rotomosh, Volt Switch out. I know he is faster, but he switches out. He doesn't want to take the likely chance of waking up on the second turn. So I've switched out on his Latios. And best Pokemon to take revenge or take on Latios is my Garchomp, which has Choice Scarf. If I use Outrage, I can take it down. Dual Chomp, I should be also able to take it down. He could also switch to Scizor, but I don't think he wants to take an Outrage. He's probably gonna stay in, knowing that. So yeah, I'm gonna go for the Dual Chop. And he switches to Scizor, takes it really well, only did 20% damage. Okay, I'm gonna go to my Landorus, who has a lot of physical. Well, actually, yeah. Okay, took U-turn really well. Intimidate, physical defense. Only did 14%. He's probably gonna go back to his Latios now. That's what I'm expecting. He does. Probably gonna use Surf or Draco Meteor. Most likely Draco Meteor, as it will take any. If I switch out any of my Pokemon, will take Draco Meteor really well. So let's see. Do I want to stay in or do I want to switch out? I'm gonna stay in. I don't really need my Landorus Therion too much. So let's see what he does. He uses Surf. Okay. And since he didn't take Life Orb damage, he could be a Choice Spec Latios. If I go to Garchomp, he might switch out to Scizor. And at the same time, he might not switch out to Scizor, because it's not going to take Outrage too well. So I'm going to go with Outrage. He's probably not going to switch out. Oh, well, he does switch out, but he has Rotom Wash, which is asleep. So he uses that as a sacrifice. Okay, that was a good move. And he's probably going to go to Scizor now. And probably going to use a Bullet Punch. Okay, he also takes damage from the Rough Skin, which is pretty nice. And he takes down my Garchomp. I was hoping that Outrage would only last 2 turns, but it doesn't. Okay, in that case, I'm gonna go to my Rotom Wash. Takes Bullet Punch well, and this will force him to switch out. So Volt Switch. Expecting him to switch to Tyranitar. That's like the least needed Pokemon for him. And he probably also wants to send up Sandstorm. And at the same time, he might also not want to switch out because his Scizor is already weakened. So he does stay in. I Volt Switch out. If I go to Scizor, then he's probably gonna go to his Latios or Alakazam. Most likely, I'm predicting Alakazam and Hidden Power Fire, because he's gonna be able to live Bullet Punch with the Focus Sash, which is also what I'm predicting. And I'm also predicting that his Hidden Power Fire would take out my Scizor. So I could go to Scizor and then switch to like my Dragon Knight to take the Hidden Power Fire, use Extreme Speed to take down his Focus Sash, and then sweep with Scizor. But his Latios is at 80%. It's a tough situation. I could just send in my Dragon Knight, force him to send out his Alakazam or Latios, but he could also just go with Tyranitar and be able to live any of Dragon Knight's attacks. Decided to go with Dragon Knight. Hopefully he sends out his Latios. I'm hoping he does that. Expecting that I don't have Extreme Speed, so I can Extreme Speed his Latios and weaken it, and then finish it off with Scizor. He goes to Tyranitar. Could go for the Outrage. But he might also have Ice Beam. I'm afraid of that. But not many Tyranitars carry Ice Beam. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a risk and Dragon Dance. Oh, but he might also have Stone Edge. What am I saying? Almost forgot about that. And most Tyranitar leads don't carry Stone Edge. Well, not most, but some. Guess I have to go for Outrage. Just 67%, and he carries Ice Punch, not Ice Beam. Not too different. Okay. In that case, if I go with Rotom Wash and Hydro Pump, then I'll do some damage. Gonna have to go with Scizor. Most likely lost this game. Oh well, this is a pretty close game. Bullet Punch is not gonna be able to take down his Latios. And he also has Alakazam. I'm gonna go to Rotom Wash. Take the Hidden Power Fire, but it also took Sandstorm and Stealth Rock damage. So now it doesn't have enough power to live another of Alakazam's attacks. So Psychic finishes it off. I send in my Scizor and Bullet Punch. And as I predicted, he does have Focus Sash. And that's how he wins. Well, good game. Take notice that I am using new teams that I've never used before. And also new Pokemon like Landorus Therion and Technician Breloom. So I'm just learning right now this metagame. Okay, it seems like battles are getting tougher now. Or maybe hyper-offensive teams just don't work out in this metagame. Or maybe I just lack the experience at the moment to create a good team for this metagame. Anyways, the theme I'm using right now is called Rarity by Dastardly. And I'll use a different team this time. Let's use a Sandstorm team that I've created. It's new. And let's try it out. Okay, I'm up against... I don't really want to even say what the name is. Though this theme is pretty unique. Hopefully I can play with this theme. Alright, anyways, his team is Hippowdon, Tyranitar, Cradily, Gliscor, Celebi, and Skarmory. Defensive team. Hopefully my team is able to take down a defensive team like that. I'm gonna lead off with Rotom Wash if he wishes to lead off with this Hippowdon. Actually, no, I'm gonna go with Landorus. That way, he's probably expecting me of leading off with Rotom Wash, so he's probably gonna go with Celebi. And Landorus does well against any of his Pokemon, as I am using the special attack form of the Landorus. So he goes with Hippowdon. And so I'll use Earth Power. Should be able to do a lot of damage. He switches out to his special Wild Cradily, which enhances its special defense due to Sandstorm and being a rock type. Okay, in that case I'll U-turn right now. U-turn is gonna do a lot of damage because it's not physically defensive, it's specially defensive. And so Scizor is going to be able to really play against the Cradily. Seems like he's carrying Stealth Rock on his Cradily. That's an unusual Pokemon to give Stealth Rock, but Cradily does lack a lot of good moves, so that's probably why he gave Cradily the Stealth Rock. So I can safely U-turn out here. He goes to his Skarmory. Okay, at least I've taken down its 30. And I'll go to Rotom Wash. I'm gonna Volt Switch out again. He's probably gonna go to his Credilli. Well, not Credilli since it's weakened. Most likely Celebi. So, yeah, so he does go to Celebi. And I'll go back to my Landorus. I'll keep forcing him to switch. I'm gonna U-turn here. And he's most likely gonna wanna switch. He does switch, he goes to his Gliscor. Okay. This time, I can go to my Latios and hit any of his Pokemon with a big bang with Draco Meteor. But at the same time, he has Tyranitar, which is also probably specially defensive and taking Sandstorm into account. He might also have Pursuit to revenge the Latios. It's a tough situation here, but I don't have too much options right now other than Rotom Wash, but he's gonna go to his Celebi. So I'm gonna go to Latios and hit any of his Pokemon well with the Draco Meteor. So let's see what he does. He might use Protect to scout the Draco Meteor. That's what I'm expecting. But he doesn't. He goes to his Tyranitar, and he doesn't have leftovers. So his Tyranitar could also be a Choice Scarf Tyranitar. In that case, I do want to switch out, but at the same time, I'm afraid to switch out. I could stay in, hit his Tyranitar with another Draco, which is gonna do about 27%, not enough. You know what, I'm gonna stay in Draco Meteor, expecting a Pursuit. Nope, he uses Ice Punch instead. It seems like a lot of people are using Ice Punch on their Tyranitars, from what I've seen this battle and the last. Okay, in that case, I'm gonna go to... I'm gonna send in my Landorus, because none of his Pokemon is able to take on Landorus very well. And use Earth Power. He's gonna want to stay in. No, he doesn't. He switches out to Gliscor. He doesn't know that I have. He probably doesn't know I have Hidden Power Ice since I had a U-turn, and that's a big threat gone for me. And Landorus is doing a lot of work. U-turn hit him with a critical hit, but previously U-turn did 40%, so the critical hit probably didn't matter since his Credilli was at 38% this time. So his Credilli is gone, another threat disposed of. What I can do right now, if I go to Tyranitar, he's gonna probably go to his Hippowdon or Skarmory to set up spikes. If I go to Rotom Wash, he's not gonna send in his Skarmory to set up spikes. He's gonna go to his Celebi. Do I want him to send in his Celebi? Not really, because I don't have a safe switch out. So what I want to do is... his Celebi is at 89%. I'm gonna go to my own Tyranitar, hoping to set up Stealth Rock, and he goes to his Hippowdon as expected. So right now I'm going to set up Stealth Rocks as planned. He Earthquakes. I may have lived the Earthquake attack, but it doesn't matter. I'll go to Rotom Wash now. Force him to send in his Celebi. I'm gonna Volt Switch. He doesn't want to stay in. My Garchomp is a Choice Scarf Garchomp. It's the one time I wished I had a Yak Garchomp with Sword Dance. But even so, I'm gonna go to Landorus. He's probably expecting U-turn and is gonna switch out. In that case, I'm I'm going to use Hidden Power Ice. He does switch out, and he switches out to Skarmory. And I have enough power for another Hidden Power and another attack after that. He's probably going to switch out right now, actually. To take a HP Ice, he's probably going to go to his Tyranitar. So I have to go for... But his Tyranitar is at low health. So he's probably going to stay in or switch out. Okay, he goes to his Hippowdon. Does a nice amount of damage. I'm going to go with Earth Power this time. Finish him off, as he doesn't want to take any risks and switch out. He switches in his Celebi, and Landorus has 5% health. He's probably expecting me of using U-turn so he can switch out to Skarmory, but he knows that I had used Hidden Power Ice previously, so he was probably expecting me of using Hidden Power Ice here so he could recover back and kill my Landorus, but I outpredicted him there and have taken out his Celebi. So that leaves him with two threats, his Tyranitar and Skarmory, both taken down by my Rotom Wash. I'm going to play safely here, use Volt Switch out. I don't want to miss a Hydro Pump because it's 80% chance attack, so I don't want to take any chances. Switch out, go to Scizor, and I'm going to use Super Power. If he uses Roost, it's going to be super effective because he's going to lose his flying type. So he does use Roost, and Super Power does hit him with a super effective attack. And that's how I win. Great game, thanks. The question for today's video discussion is, what's your opinion on Landorus? Do you think it should be a Uber or remain OU? As lately there has been a lot of skepticism, the Pokemon Online community has currently regarded it as a suspect, and they're currently debating whether or not it should be Uber. The previous battle you watched me play gave a really good example of how powerful and effective Landorus can be. So what's your opinion on Landorus? Please post in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.